Anyway, let's talk about that replay between Wolves and Liverpool. Liverpool came through it 1-0 with that Harvey Elliott goal. Oh, joy, they faced Brighton in the next round. But all jokes aside, Shaka, they did look like much more of a Jurgen Klopp side last night.
Yeah, they did. And listen, they got the goal, but 13th minute, incredible strike by Harvey Elliott. Though I do have to say, his positioning was a little bit questionable. And that changed things. That changed a lot about Liverpool, just their mood. And I feel how they competed for the rest of the game. It was much needed, especially after that performance that you just referenced, Kay, against Brighton, where they were decidedly poor. And I'm not paying enough respect to Brighton, who were absolutely fantastic. But Liverpool needed a response. They got it. And you can spin this one of a couple of ways. Wolves are a team down the bottom of the table for good reason. And as much as they've had a bit of a bounce back under Lopetegui, those wins have come against Leeds, West Ham and Everton, 3 clubs down near the foot of the table. And they've struggled to score goals most of the season, though they did score 2 against Liverpool in the first encounter. So if you're Liverpool, you're taking the win, you're taking the clean sheet, you're happy for them, but it's easy to be a little bit cynical about it. There's still a lot of work for Liverpool to do to prove that they have turned the corner, that corner that we've kind of hinted at Liverpool turning since September, I think it's been.
So if this was a step in the right direction, how important is that massive game at the weekend against Chelsea to make some decisions on where they're at right now?
Well, I really want to see how Jurgen Klopp plays this, because he made extensive changes. And as good a performance as it was, as good a result as it was, how many really have put themselves in the reckoning for selection from the start for Jurgen Klopp? We mentioned Harvey Elliott's incredible strike. I thought Joe Gomez was outstanding at the back, particularly late on when Wolves were pushing, looking for that equalizer. But does Gomez get in ahead of Matip on the weekend? I'm not so sure. So positive results have a knock-on effect to the entire club, regardless of who plays, regardless of whether they put themselves in reckoning for the next game. Everybody has a better feel about them training this morning or tomorrow, whenever they get back together, will feel a whole lot different than it did on Monday morning. So you take that and you try to build on it. So I want to see how Jurgen Klopp plays this and how Liverpool equip themselves against a Chelsea team who kind of had a lot of the same criticisms about. Though they've changed their manager during the course of the season, this is a Chelsea that themselves have been underperforming, that we have been waiting for them to turn a corner for the last 4 or 5 months. And their performances haven't lived up to how talented the squad it is. So you have both these teams coming in to a game neck and neck in terms of their own league positions, a distance off where you would think their minimum would be at the start of the season, and both looking to turn that corner. Only one can at the very most.
Just to put a bow on the Liverpool chat, how important do you think FA Cup success is to Jurgen Klopp?
And that's what I'm a little bit torn on, Kay, if I'm to be honest. I've been in teams who've been looking for that performance, that result to kickstart the season. And oftentimes, the FA Cup can be a free hit. You're allowed to change formations, you're allowed to change personnel, you can take risks, try to feel a few things out. But Jurgen Klopp certainly didn't do that. If you look at the number of changes, those weren't risks, because as I mentioned, how many of those players have really given Jurgen Klopp an awful lot to think about? How many of those changes will stick come the Chelsea game? But in this odd seasons with a World Cup in the middle of it, you've got Champions League to come, Champions League against Real Madrid to come, games continue to come thick and fast. it really is one that only Jurgen Klopp and his backroom staff can make an informed call on. Because it's easy for me to say, yeah, go out and play everybody and try a new formation and do this, that, and the other. But if, for argument's sake, your fitness specialists are saying this player needs a rest, or these couple of players just need to scale back somewhat, then you have to go with that. And that is information that we aren't privy to, and Jurgen Klopp and his staff have to make informed decisions on. So we can speculate all we like, but we don't have some of the finer details that the club obviously will rely on.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.